Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the latest Pop Culture Gamers show. We're on show number 101. Today is the 29th of November, and my name is Haydn, and I am here, as always, with Steve. Hi, Steve, how are you doing?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all.
Not bad. Worked to the bone, though.
Yes, I am at the moment, yeah.
Yeah.
Being hung, drawn and quartered right now at the minute. That's that busy.
Really, that bad?
Yeah, that's what it's like, really. And you do what you can do.
Yes, this is true. Okay, so, what's been happening with you, Steve? Might as well start off as we're ready to go on.
Yeah. So work's been tough at the minute. I've got a 6-week project which I don't really want to talk about, but it's going to affect my next 6 weeks leading through up to Christmas because early start, late finish. So it's probably going to get the weekends to do a bit of gaming, but I've got to do a bit of work at the weekends as well. So it's but that's not too bad. I mean, I can still get the pad on and do something.
Yeah. Well, pays the bills, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, exactly. So I need to be putting a few hours overtime in, so that'll help balance a lot of stuff out over Christmas as well. So
yeah,
we'll be home at Christmas, just the two of us this year.
I must admit, I would love to have a job I could do overtime in because I'd certainly be happy to do it. But unfortunately, we don't get it, or I don't get it in my role anyway.
So yeah, that's right. What else has really happened? Well, not a lot. That's normally there's a lot of things. When you pre-order stuff, it takes a while for it to come.
Yeah, it does.
And depends if you're with Amazon or Zavi and what luck you get, depending on what comes in when it does, really, isn't it? So I'm sure we're gonna talk a lot about Total Recall later on.
I'm sure we will.
In the movie section.
Yes.
But ironically, or should I say coincidentally, I finally got my shipping notice for the complete score for Total Recall on vinyl.
Nice.
Which I pre-ordered quite a while ago now. So that's over 3 albums on a set. Black vinyl, and interestingly, I'm hoping it's very similar to what we will talk about later with what we got in the box set. So yeah, it'd be nice to get that across.
Yeah.
And showing my age, I've got a 12-inch vinyl coming from OMD, which is the 40th anniversary of Enola Gay with a special remix. And yeah, that shows the age when I say it's the 40th anniversary. So makes you feel even older. Last thing I've been doing is I've started listening to Ready Player 2 on Amazon Audible.
Right.
That came out a couple of days ago.
Yeah, I was reading an article that was saying that it's not being received very well.
Yeah, I haven't listened to any reports yet. I am in a Gunter group on Facebook,
right,
which is all Ready Player 1, so I haven't looked in there yet to see what people's thoughts are. But I'm sort of very early in on the story. And interesting, yeah, there's a couple of bits and pieces. I mean, I don't think it matters what this book is, because when they get to do the movie, it will be nothing like the book.
No, it won't be.
It'd be a different screenplay.
Interestingly, will it be the same actor or actors?
Well, you would have thought so.
You would like to think so, yeah, but It's been a couple of years since the movie, hasn't it?
And the way movies go at the minute, that could be another couple of years before that comes out.
Yes, indeed.
Or even actually filmed in a couple of years. I mean, there's still a lot going on talking about, what's supposed to be coming out this year and next year. We've talked about it many times, but yeah, it's we'll see. I'm sure there'll be some screenplay done for it, and it might be based loosely on the book, whether that's to do with the main story or not. From what I'm so far getting to grips with, but I'm enjoying listening to it. I haven't had much of a chance of late because I've been on the phone a lot of time in the car, but these next few weeks I'll be able to probably listen to it a bit more. I'm going to be up at the crack of dawn, so I don't think anyone will be actually awake when I go out on the road. So yeah, but that was a freebie. I got a free 3-month pass with Amazon, so that's why I did the pass, because I wanted to pick the book up. And
yeah, I must admit, I'm seriously thinking about stopping mine because I'm just not listening to the books, and I'm still chugging them out, as it were, every. I
haven't been with it for a while. I'm only doing it for a freebie, just so I can pick this book up. And
did you pick up a freebie before?
I have done, yeah.
Oh, so they give you more freebies again?
Yeah. I've had about 2 or 3.
I might cancel my subscription.
Yeah, and they might try and offer you something to keep you going, but the 3-month one was well worth doing, I think. But yeah, so the book's well read by Will Reed as usual. Keeps that continuity going with it.
Yeah.
And I had in my head how these three people would look when I first listened to the book. But now, after seeing the film, it sort of disjoints it a little bit because you've got those characters in your head.
Yes.
But, I try not to think. I just listen to the book and try and digest it, and there's a few little chuckles along the way. Plenty of pop culture references, as you're well aware from what you've read about, which I didn't want to read too much about it because it might give you some spoilers. But yeah, it's all right. It's for free, so I listen to it,
Well, the main thing is that you're enjoying it, isn't it? And the good thing is that audiobooks do take a long time to get through. I don't know what it is, but whenever I seem to be listening to an audiobook, if it says it's like 10 hours, it always feels a lot longer than 10 hours.
Yeah, I mean, this book, if I just quickly bring up my Audible, so without starting it by accident. So, got a funny feeling. Let's have a look. So it's got 12 hours left. So I'm probably done a couple of hours maybe at tops. Yeah, but I know Klein was probably criticised a little bit with the first book on how grammatically it was. I mean, it's not like a Stephen King writer or a William Shakespeare, should we say? But I enjoyed the first one, and just gonna crack on with this. I'm sure I listened to the end regardless of how I feel about it, just to get the end of the story. Anyway. Moving swiftly, how about yourself?
Well, for me, been a quiet week, just sort of getting on with work, that kind of thing. Been getting to grips with the new consoles as well. Trying to see which one I like best and which, I think is more lacking in the next-gen sort of department at the moment. That might change over time. But we'll just have to wait and see. I did get contacted by Cyberpower to tell me that my PC is going to be delayed because of the availability of 3080 graphics cards, which does not surprise me. They're supposed to be getting some late next week, which my delivery date was supposed to be late next week. So it might be the week after, it might be a couple of weeks later. It just depends upon how much stock that they're allocated. But we know these teething problems from, the console launches, don't we? So
yes,
it's just the same thing over and over again. I've been sorting out my man cave, sort of tidying it up. I've now got my PlayStation 5 lying down in my hi-fi sort of like Unity bit, which has plenty of ventilation and that, so there's no need to worry about that. I did have a heck moment when I switched it on, and it came on and then promptly went off. And I thought, what's gone wrong? And I thought, do you know what? Nothing really has gone wrong. It's been temperamental about something. Probably the fact that it wasn't, in some sort of way secretly shut down, which involves a ritual sacrifice of a goat to Satan or something or other like that, as a way that Sony seems to, like to make you jump through specifically extra hoops in order to shut anything down, in order to switch it off at the power. So I got it going in the end, so that was absolutely fine. But I'm quite glad about that, because what I've done is I've retired a few pieces of my gaming related stuff from a man cave. So for example, I've got my Halo Guardians collector's edition thing, which takes up a massive amount of space, and I was just getting a little bit sick of it. It felt in the way, it felt big, so I've just put it back in its box and put the box back in the loft, as it were, for the time being, just to get a little bit of extra room for my new, fleet of Star Trek ships. And also I picked, because Eagle Moss had Black Friday event stuff going on, so I managed to pick up the Hulkbuster Iron Man and the Hulk, which are slightly larger figures. They're about 16 to 18 centimetres tall, obviously die-cast models, and they were less than the cost of the cheapest one out of the two, which was the Hulk. So I was really dead pleased. I think one was £20 off, and it was £18 off because it was normally $29.99 and it was actually 12. And then the whole one was 8 and it's normally 24, 23, something like that. And the great models as well, really nicely detailed, obviously based around the Marvel Cinematic Universe sort of design of the characters as well. So yeah, fantastic. Really, really happy with that as well. So looking forward. Well, I'm not going to collect any more of those. Those were the only two really that I wanted. I did want the Spider-Man one, but I'm nowhere am I paying £150 for it. I think it's just extortionate at that price. And just not worth it. So yeah, that's been my week. Pretty much not very exciting, just because we're in lockdown and there's not much you can really do, is there?
Well, you say that I was out and about today, picking up some fuel, filling my car up for the week ahead, and roads are crazy.
Oh yeah, I don't think people are observing it generally now. It's like I went into a shop this week. One of the sort of essential shops, and this guy came up and sort of like stood to my left when I was standing in the queue outside the shop. I was already stood there. I saw him walk up, and this guy was in his 60s. I saw him walk up, and he stood a metre to my left and stood and looked at me. And when I felt sort of like I just like looked at him and then just looked away. I thought, I don't know who he is or anything. And then he went and walked behind me and stood really close. And I was sort of like, I feel like just turning round to him and just saying, social distance, mate, back up. I thought, no, I'll just ignore him. I've got my back to him. I've got a mask on. He's got a mask on. It's fine. If he's just being rude, that's his sort of thing. Anyway, I'm going into the shop, get saying, right, okay, yeah, come through. Is it the two of you? I said, no, just me. I don't know who this guy is, because he was literally, he couldn't have been any closer to us. And then a member of staff turned round to him and said, oh, excuse me, sir, but can you please recognise the social distance rule? And then he just absolutely laid out into this member of staff, you don't have to tell me, I know about this. So I turned round to him and I said, well, it's too bad you're not abiding by it then. And walked off. But I just, honestly, why can't people just give you space? Do you know what I mean? It's just, I know that people are fed up of it. I know that. But, it's just polite, For all he knows, I could be somebody who could be at risk or higher risk, or I could be caring for somebody in that sort of situation. I mean, my son got sent home because of he sat next to somebody who had it. So, I don't know. Bit fed up of it all at the moment, as I think the rest of the country is.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people will think Christmas will sort of give that a turn around, and
I'll tell you what. If I was Boris Johnson, I'd be worried about Christmas because people are going to ignore it. I think whatever he says, and they're going to have the Christmas that they want, and the R rate will go, the infection rate, the number of infections will go up. We'll just, such as it is, but people will want to be together at Christmas, and it's only natural.
I mean, I just realised I was looking back at what concerts I've paid for over the last year, and one of them that was supposed to be rescheduled to March has now been rescheduled for the year later.
For what? Sorry?
2020. I had a Simple Minds concert at the
right, yeah.
And so the reschedule was going to be March this year. Sorry, next year. But then they're scheduling for 2022.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was supposed to go and see the Pet Shop Boys and someone else.
Have you got a date for that? Have you looked into them yet? Or?
No, because when all of this started to kick off, and the rate was getting really quite high by then. When they said, I will postpone it till next year, I turned around to my wife and I said, it's not going to be over, by the time, I'm not confident about, it being over by the time that's coming around again. So we just got our money back.
Of course you do, yeah. I mean, in the news of late, we've got the football where they're going to allow 2,000 people in the stadium. So in a 65,000 stadium, for example, that's probably going to be, sparse enough for it. But I think my only concert I think I have got going is probably a couple in November, December next year. Hopefully then they will go ahead.
Well, as long as all of these vaccines work, then in theory there's no reason why they shouldn't happen.
No, but that's out at the moment. So
yeah, but in the meantime, people just have to follow the rules, whether you like them or not.
Absolutely.
And I mean, you must see a lot wandering around, in your job the way that you do, about people not following rules.
Oh yeah, I mean, in the stores, well, the stores, it does seem non-existent when you go to Sainsbury's or Co-op or something like that. People I always try and make a wide berth on anybody, but it's that's what it is really.
Yeah.
They say if we're gonna get better, if it's gonna improve, like they say it will do, the tier system now, but hopefully it will do. We'll see. It's a bit crazy.
It certainly is. Anyway, let's go on to more positive things. So, shall we go on to gaming this week? All right. So, gaming this week, and we have some news. First off, you do, yeah.
Okay.
A couple of bits of news. First off, Marvel Avengers will get an extensive additional content to revitalise sales. So despite a fair amount of anticipation, the Marvel Avengers movie really didn't hit it out of the park in terms of a successful launch. The game has seen an absolutely humongous 96% loss of its player base over the launch, or since the launch time, 2 months ago. That's all it was launched. So Square Enix president has announced to compensate for the accumulated losses, fans can expect extensive additional content to drop sooner or later. Word has it that this recent convention was mainly inspired by a financial report that indicated substandard performance. So evidently for now, Kate Bishop is coming to the big screen on the 8th of December. She's Hawkeye's protege and will bring her own story operation to the game. So I do hope that the game picks up, because being fair to the game, it's not actually too bad. It's quite an enjoyable game to play. I only ever came at it as a single player game because I was never convinced it was going to work as a service, and as a single player game I was quite happy with it. I do hope they develop it into more. But, how many Destinies do you want? You can only have 1 or 2 games as a service, and now you've got Call of Duties and Destiny and a host of other games that are all equally vying for your attention and your cash and your subscriptions to the seasons or whatever, like Overwatch, that sort of stuff. So how many games do you have before you reach critical mass? And I think that we past that. I don't think that there's that many games that we need as a service. What we need is more good quality single player sort of experiences.
I wish that developers would think that sometimes, because they all think they can make a cash cow like Fortnite, Destiny, Apex, or whatever it's going to be. It's not always never the case, and we've seen games over the years where they try to put in a multiplayer part to a single player story, and it just fails abysmally.
Oh, well, look at the Tomb Raider games. Perfect example.
And even one of the Bioshock ones tried it, so...
Yeah, and Uncharted. None of them are really good. Not from the multiplayer sort of point of view.
Well, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see. I'm going to be interested to see what this storyline does for the game. Probably not very much. But
you quite like it as it goes.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm a big Marvel fan, so, why wouldn't I enjoy playing it? It's a good, sort of like enjoyable game. It's still very samey. They need a lot more variety in terms of how they deliver that game. So, yeah. The other bit of news is about the Bulletstorm developers are working on 2 new AAA projects. Not sure what they are, but evidently they are partnering with Square Enix and Take-Two to make them.
No, I wonder what they are.
Well, James Bond,
I can't remember who was doing that. Was it
Square Enix,
Was
wasn't
it
it?
Square Enix? Yeah.
Yeah, because they also make Hitman, which is, let's face it, it's not a far thing to go from Hitman to James Bond.
And I know that there was talk of a new Bioshock game, whether that's a reboot or what, I don't know. I'm still hoping that will come to fruition at some point.
We'll have to wait and see. It'd be interesting, definitely interesting.
Yeah, I think, say, users a bit thin on the ground. We've had the big console releases just of late, and all the only other news that we could keep harping on about is all the woes on the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox and their own respective problems. But I think there's no point talking about that anymore, if you know what I mean. There are other things that have come out, but, you know.
Whatever console you get, there's always going to be a problem somewhere. Someone somewhere is going to have experienced a problem. And the way that the media in general is now is it only ever reports on the really scary negative aspects. It never reports on and everything was fine. Or you know, it's like having the whole thing of you know, if you're over 40 and you want to have a child, you know, there's a 4% chance that your child might get Down syndrome, or a 96% chance that they won't.
No, there was one thing though. I've got it written down here, but did you hear about this company based in UK that scalped 3,500 PS5?
Yeah, lots of massive scalper company.
Yeah, and you know, probably all over eBay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where I stand on it, because when you think about it, they're doing a business. Yes, we don't agree with what they're doing. Why are these?
They're using bots to stops other real users to purchase what they're after, whether it's a set of trainers or whatever it could be. Do you know what I mean? And that's not fair. And then eBay, why they don't change their rules and regs regarding this sort of thing, if they pop up on there. You know, we've had the photograph issue as well, where people have been selling a photo of PlayStation 5 and people didn't realise it was just a photo.
Yeah, or a box.
Yeah.
Because I must admit, when I saw that, you know, somebody said, this is absolutely disgusting, this person is selling a box. And it was like 600 quid or something like that. And I was thinking, good on them. Hell, I'll put my box on there, because it was very clearly marked, this is the box, this is not the PlayStation.
Yeah, but you feel that eBay have a right as a company to investigate this and try and do something about it.
Yeah.
You know.
I do agree, but also you have to think if they're doing this as a business, it's just capitalism at work.
Yeah, but I feel it's underhand sort of business. It's not, you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean, because it's not. It's the effect that they're having on people who genuinely wanted them, and they're depriving them from access because they're buying them up and then selling them at an extreme price. That's what's wrong. You
know, I wouldn't mind if someone, say, purchased two on the hoping of getting one, but ended up with two for whatever reason, and they said, well, due to what picking it up, I might put another 100 quid on it, maybe. I
wonder who you might be referring to there, Steve.
I don't know. I'm just saying. Do you know what I mean? It's like, anyway.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's an interesting concept, because technically they're not doing something wrong, but we just feel it's unfair what they're doing. Would you not agree?
Yeah, but I just say wrong, full stop. You know.
Well, the thing is, we're never going to stop it unless we suddenly stop being capitalists, because that's how capitalism works. Someone buys something and sells it to someone else for a profit.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, do you want to do the new releases?
Okey-doke. All right, so for the 1st of December, blimey, we have Worms Rubble on the PC, PS5, and PS4. We have Cronus Before the Ashes, all that's and all sort of variable ways of consoles to use. Empire of Sin, that is very similar again. We have Twin Mirror Lost on Arrival, Xbox, PS4 and PC. From the 2nd, we got Sam and Max Save the World Remastered, PC and Switch. On the 3rd, we have Immortals Phoenix Rising on everything. Still going, I think, directly towards the third. Oh, there's quite a few here. So carrying on with the third, we've got El Hero, the Wild West Tale, PC and Stadia. Death Tales on the Switch. We've got Startup Panic on the PC. Tinkertown PC. Shiren the Wanderer, the Tower of the Fortune and the Dice of Fate on the PC. Morbid of the Seven Acolytes, PC, PS4, Xbox One and Switch. Phoenix Point Year 1 Edition on the PC. On the 4th of December, we have Commandos 2 HD Remaster. Fitness Boxing 2 Rhythm and Exercise on the Switch. FIFA 21, PS5 and Xbox Series X. Suzerain on the PC. John Wick Hex, Xbox One and Switch. And lastly, we have Dragon Quest XI S Echoes of the exclusive Age Definitive Edition. That's PC, PS4 and Xbox One. And there we go.
All good stuff. Game subscription wise, this week for Games with Gold, we've got from the 1st to the 31st of December, The Raven Remastered, and from the 16th to the 15th of January, we've got Bleed 2, and then from the 1st to the 15th, there's also Saints Row, Get Out of Hell, and 16th to the 31st is Stacking.
Which I thoroughly recommend, actually.
Yeah. Well, actually,
I do own it. Yeah, I do. I mean, a lot of people have been poo-pooing this month, but Stacking I do have already on the Xbox, and yeah, very good game.
Yeah, indeed. Game Pass removals on the Xbox. We've got Absolve the Downfall, Dead Island Definitive Edition, Demon Tilt, Opulent Pinball Action, The Escapist 2, Mutant Year Zero, Road to Eden, and Wonder Song are all leaving on the 1st of December. And then on PC, you've got Demon Tilt, Pinball Action, Faria, Hato Full, Boyfriend, and Mutant Years Zero, Road to Eden, again, all leaving on the 1st of December. Do you want to do PlayStation Plus?
Yeah. So PlayStation Plus, we've got Worms Rumble, Just Cause 4, and Rocket Arena.
Yeah, we should say Worms Rumble, I believe, is only PS5.
Yeah, because if you've noticed now, we have 4 games for gold, which was 3, wasn't it, before the Xbox Series X came out?
Yeah.
So now they're giving you an extra one, and of course, with PlayStation Plus, they're giving you one that will be just for the PS5.
Yeah, indeed.
Just on the PlayStation for a tick, I didn't realise, and it really pissed me off a little bit. I didn't get any notification that my renewal was up.
Right.
So I ended up spending 50 quid for PlayStation Now.
Yeah, because you didn't cancel your subscription.
Which I think that Microsoft always let you know.
Well, why don't you contact them and complain?
No, I'm going to cancel it if you say I should probably do that, and then we'll see.
Yeah, because also the Black Friday deals, they had PS Plus for 35 quid.
Yeah, but knowing Sony the way they are and how tight fisted they are, I'd get nowhere with them anyway.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true.
Anyway, do you want to carry on?
Yeah, so Twitch games this month, or Prime Gaming as it is now, we've got Toe Jam and Earl, When Ski Lifts Go Wrong, Hover, Sherlock Holmes and the Devil's Daughter, and Hugh. So Sherlock Holmes, not a bad game, as is Hugh. They're not too bad. I haven't played the other 2 out of those. And then with Epic, at the moment, up until the 3rd of December, we've got Mudrunner, which I think has been very popular on Game Pass. And then on the 3rd onwards is Cave Story. I should say Cave Story Plus, I should say.
Yeah, Twitch, the rewards at the moment, if you're a Destiny player, have got another few more exotic bits and pieces this week.
Yes, I have.
So worth picking them up if you have. I certainly did. So always nice to keep my vault full up with so much stuff that I can't really play with it too much. But yeah, so that's not really.
Okay, so Steve, what have you been playing then?
Well, I have been playing Destiny, and I had a couple of games with some friends of old on Xbox Live last night, which was pretty cool. But yeah, just grinding away, leveling up my player. I'm trying to get up to 1235 right now. I want to get up to doing the first of the Lost Sectors, which can guarantee you a exotic piece from the armor side. But I need to be at least, I think, 1250 or 1280 for those at the moment, so a little way off yet. But yeah, just to grind and just enjoying it as usual. But I did pull the trigger with FIFA this week because it was in Black Friday.
Right.
And I always enjoy playing the FIFA Ultimate Team. And for this, normally a lot of people buy the packs on EA for opening the card packs, which I'm sure you're well aware of. But to be honest, since I've been playing it now, and they have changed how that game works. As much as you can always earn packs, like you could have last year or the year before when I last played it. They've changed the mechanics for playing FIFA Ultimate Team. But as I've been carrying on playing it from an offline point of view and not playing against any real people, because I'll probably get my ass kicked, because I'm all right, single player. But I must have opened, 15 packs in the last couple of days.
Wow.
I got quite a few. I got a couple packs with which I get each week. For 10 weeks I get it. So there is quite a few there. But just going through the challenges on that, I've opened up quite a few packs. Some are short packs, some are large packs. But, I've got a big squad now. And I just enjoy playing that game. It looks all right at the moment, which I don't think it's had the update yet. I think the update's not until the 5th of December.
Okay.
Or the 4th, actually. But yeah, it looks great as it does. I put it straight onto the SSD anyway. Mm. But yeah, it's great fun to play. I've been playing it all day today, actually, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, I know football, sports, not your bag, but I've really enjoyed playing it. And, it's... I didn't play it last year for FIFA 20, but it's nice to go back to 21 and actually get trips with it,
Yeah, do they still do the story mode in it?
There's two there, yeah. You've got I haven't done it yet, but you've got the manager mode and you have a story mode. And there's another mode where you can use like women as well.
Okay.
If you want to go for the women's game as well. So it's got every type of element there to have that.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's packed with stuff to do anyway. Even just if you follow a team, that you can play the games that come out each week, as you do in the real world as well. Mm. So yeah, I've been really enjoying it, and I look forward to seeing this free upgrade when it hits the deck. So that should be interesting.
Oh, fantastic.
We'll see how good. I mean, it looks great now, to be honest, but we'll see what difference that makes in. That's going to be about Thursday next week, isn't it? About the 4th, isn't it, roughly?
Yeah. I mean, thinking, and I'm not being facetious. This is actually just a genuine question. Is obviously the latest versions of FIFA go with how many, with the latest stats and stuff like that. Mm. If you're playing like a match that is similar, or in
the Premier League, you mean?
Yeah, the Premier League. Mm. Is the crowd there?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Right. So okay, I didn't know whether or not they actually moved the crowd because they're not in the actual stadiums.
No.
They're, socially distanced or.
No, they've not taken that into account, but it's all the same seasons and everything else, the Champions League and Premiership and all the other different countries' sporting powers with what they play, whether it's in Portugal, Italy or France or wherever. So all those different leagues. But yeah, that's all still the same, So I just like playing. I just like building a team. I like to put my team together as a Spurs team as well, which I've picked a few players up on transfers at the moment. So there's a few I've picked up pretty cheaply with the coins I've been winning in the game, because you win game. When I've been winning games, you get like 900 coins, and you use those to, pick up items that you require to progress your team, sort of thing. Whether it's a stadium or it's going to be players or shirts or emblems. Even now you.
Sorry, go on. Oh, go on.
No, I was going to say you can actually change the colour of the seats now in some of the parts of the stadium as well. Right. So you can sort of jazz it up a little bit to whatever you want. But it's good.
Can you buy the team packs with that money that is generated in game as well? Or
there's no team pack as such, but you get the packs. You get the remember the old bubblegum packs of old, when you get like 7 or 8 or 9 cards in there with different players from the different leagues.
So are these actual physical packs, or are they virtual ones?
They're all virtual, because when that pack opens up and you've got like 7 or 8 players plus some consumables, they will go into your bank, should we say? Yeah,
because there was at the beginning of the last gen. Can't believe talking about Xbox One as the last gen now, but with the Kinect camera and stuff like that, there was the thought that things like the packs would actually be physical, and you'd hold up a card with a QR code, which would then give you your virtual items.
Yeah, it's all digital. It's always been that way. One thing that did obviously kick off about was about the amount of money that people spend on them.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, you can spend 80 quid on points to open up packs and buy the bigger packs that you get, but you don't have to do that too badly.
Do you have to? Can you buy packs?
Yeah, you still can buy
real
it.
Money.
They're still on the store, yeah, and you buy the coins that you use the coins to exchange for them. But that's never changed. But when you want to purchase the in-game, there are different things to do to open certain packs, and that I'm up to level 7 on the XP, for example, and doing that on its own. I've been picking up like different balls, some larger packs with more players in, and so on and so forth, and got a few rare, stronger players that because when you look online, if you want to get a real top player, they're sort of going for 135,000, maybe more coins.
Yeah.
But what's great is that you get loan players, which are some of those players you can put in your team, and there's different ways of playing that you can have a full set like that and play with them. So it's really good. If you're a sports fan, and I've noticed looking at all my friends that are on it, there's quite a few people that do play it. So
it is a bit of a gambling game to win, though, isn't it? A pay to win.
Well, not if you're a good player, it's not.
No, but if you're not, you could.
Well, you can dumb down.
Give yourself advantages.
Well, I wouldn't say it play to win too much, because I think you see these packs opened up on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I always feel sometimes that they're a bit of a con, because you keep seeing all these big players that they keep getting. But you do get players on loan. So I've got, for example, I've got Maradona as one of the old players on there to play for 5 games, for example.
And of course, with him passing this week.
Yeah, because there's a few things that came up actually when you play the game.
Yeah.
And there were some banners came up saying about, what a great player was and so on and so forth. So, but no, it's, I really like it. I just stayed off it the year before, but I'm glad I've gone back to it now. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how big this upgrade is and what it looks like. So I'll be pretty impressed to see if it can beat what it looks like now at the minute, because it's not bad, to be honest.
Yeah. You heard about the joke about Maradona, didn't you?
Which one? Go on.
He goes up to heaven, and God goes up to him, smacks him over the back of the head, and says, "That's for blaming me for your goal."
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I heard about yeah. I did see one joke. it's a bit sick, but there was a man. I think it was a Man United manager in a picture on the pitch. In the background, you could see like not the police, but the first aid guys moving their trolley on wheels, and it looks like it's covered. It looks like there's a body on it, and they say that they just bought Maradona, and it's like a little bit close to the mark, but
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I know very little about football, but I do know enough to know that he was a very skilled footballer.
Yeah, we can all, and I've said this, and I've seen him play in the flesh, and he certainly has that skill. Regardless of what we do feel about the hand of God and the World Cup with Peter Schultz when he goes up against him, but that's history now, So
it's done and dusted, and football has lost a legend, and I recognise that, and how much I
don't know what it is. We're just losing so many people. I mean, whether it's in sport or movies, which we'll go into later, but it's unreal at the moment. It really is.
It is. I mean, it feels like a couple of years ago when every day you seem to be losing somebody.
And while you chat about one, I'm going to look for one I saw about.
Because evidently Sean Connery passed away due to complications with pneumonia and a heart attack.
Oh, okay. Because he was poorly though, wasn't he? So.
He was, yeah. And it showed you a picture of him a few days before he died. He did not look the man he was. Such a shame, but age is not forgiving.
Not by a long shot, is it?
No, not at all. Anyway, Steve, what have you been playing?
That was it.
Other than FIFA. So, no Destiny news?
No, I've been grinding away.
Yeah.
Just slowly upping my, I'm halfway through the new exotic sword quest at the moment.
Right.
And I've got about 5 or 6 major quests on the go right now. So, but yeah, I'm enjoying it, and shame some people can't come across to the dark side, but
Well, I have been playing a little bit of it, but I'm more playing on PC.
yeah, I know.
So, but like I said, let me know if you're going to get a game together with our old Fire team, and I'll.
Yeah, well, Chris is what is he playing at the minute? I think he's been playing Call of Duty rather than me on the Xbox Series X. That game seems to crash people's consoles right now, so
Yeah,
I'd be a little bit wary over that.
definitely. Anyway, gaming wise, I've been playing the Spider-Man Miles Morales game. Completely, really enjoying this. I have now completed the story, and I'm gonna say I've really, really enjoyed it. I mean, I love Spider-Man. I know it's not Spider-Man, but it's sort of like the next generation of Spider-Man with Miles as the main character. But it's a really good game, and you forget in a way because the characters are different but very similar at the same time. There's a really intriguing story that runs right the way through. There is lots to do in the world. I mean, I've completed the story. I haven't completed the world. I'm just going to go back again to the level of detail in this game is utterly incredible. Everything that you see in the game, it is unreal. And if you've got the unlock code for the Into the Spider-Verse universe as well, that it's well worth having a zoom in on that outfit as well, just to see the sort of like effects which have obviously brought over from the movie in there as well. I think also, and I think that there was a bit of a misunderstanding that I was giving away a spoiler, and I'm not, other than the fact that he's not in it, is that there is a reference to Chadwick Boseman, not to his character, but to him in the game. And I think it's 42nd Street, for example, was renamed Boseman Avenue or something like that. And it's just little things like that which I think is really good, but also it does recognise at the very end of the game, it comes up with like a memorial piece in the game which talks about Chadwick, just saying this game's like in honour of him or whatever. And, because the more that I learn about Chadwick Boseman, he really was a hero. People didn't know around him that he had cancer, that he filmed it without the director knowing. That he was undergoing chemo. How on earth you can hide that, I don't know. And the work that he did with supporting kids in hospitals and, all of that sort of stuff. He was a great guy, and, I think he lived up every bit to, his on-screen persona in that sort of way. So, yeah, it's a really great game. The main problem about this game, though, is the length of it, because it is a DLC length, as in, like, in the same way that the DLC was on The Witcher 3. It wasn't a full experience. But it is a very full world. There is lots to do. There is lots of variety. There are some very interesting little sort of side missions to go on, which develop the character more, and it's really, really good. The ending of the game is very touching, very emotional, as you would expect on all of these sort of games, very much like the Spider-Man movie, game before it. And it's just utterly fantastic, what Sony have done with this. Their recognition that they are actually in the Marvel universe as well, and not in a different Marvel universe, I think is probably quite good in terms of some of that recognition that goes on within the game in little Easter eggs. And yeah, there's also the ability to unlock stuff on a second playthrough. So there is a new game plus mode. So you carry through, all of your, gadgets, upgrades, all of that sort of stuff. And then you've got to, unlock even more powers and whatever, which aren't available to you in the first playthrough, and likewise costumes as well. So it's such a worthwhile game to play. You can also redo the same missions that you've done before to, get an improved score and, the in-game sort of currency, as it were. I forgot what it's called, but that, you can buy your new suits and that because
is it Webby coins or something, is it?
I can't remember what it is. It's like techno parts or something or other like that. So there's lots of things in there, and it also unlocks an ultimate difficulty level as well. So if you're a sadist and you like causing yourself pain, particularly in your gaming, then you'll be able to play it on that because it's not exactly an easy game to play in terms of some of the fighting and how sensitive some of the characters can be when you're trying to do stealth takedowns.
Yeah.
So really well worth it. I would say if you're not a massive Spider-Man fan, wait for this to come into the sales before you buy it because you might be a bit, that wasn't the full experience. But if you get the version with the remastered Spider-Man original game as well, but for the PS5, then that is worth it because you've obviously got the full experience and the Miles Morales sort of standalone DLC to go with it as well, which is the version that I've got. So I've got, I thought for £10 more or whatever it was, I might as well have two PS5 games rather than have one, and a little bit of money left over. That was my sort of reasoning behind it, and that's why I did it, so I could, play the old Spider-Man game, which I really loved as well, in this whole new shiny sort of way of depicting the game because it's just beautiful. And when you get the sky and the reflections and that sort of thing coming off buildings in New York when it's getting early evening and the sun's starting to zip, and when you're swinging through the city and you can see all of the all the sunlight coming through and reflections and stuff like that, it's a joyous game to play. And also New York City in the snow as well, because it snows halfway through the game, and the snow stays there for the rest of the game. So it's just a slightly different view, more akin to what we've come to expect in a Division, in that sort of respect. But yeah, nice game to play. Definitely a nice game to play.
Cool.
Yeah. So if that's it, I did want to give a shout out as well about the UHD Blu-ray playback on a PS5. I know that we'd still talk about the PS5, so I thought rather than talk about it in movies, TV and streaming, I'll do it now. The playback on the UHD is utterly flawless. Utterly flawless. It is so incredibly smooth. It's joyous to play.
Have you tried the Xbox as well yet?
Yeah, I have. That's a very similar sort of experience. But it works straight out of the tin, no worries. So if anybody's wondering, it could be quite a viable 4K Blu-ray player as well for you. If you can't afford a Blu-ray UHD Blu-ray player and a PS5 as well. So well worth a thought. Anyway, not like I said, I just wanted to give that a shout out because I've tried it. But have you tried the Xbox Blu-ray?
Yeah, I tried it with. I did when we talked about it last time. I've tried it with a few different ones, but it looks okay. I think they're very similar. I'm not going to tell what much difference is, to be honest. But as I've got a 4K Blu-ray player dedicated, I'll always use that, to be honest.
Yeah, so will I. I personally, I prefer having the dedicated machine rather than use something like the PlayStation, because I'm old-fashioned enough, and I'm sure this is probably where you are as well, to think I don't want to wear out the Blu-ray player in my PlayStation 5, as it were. Not for any other reason.
Not that it's only a laser, isn't it? So probably
yeah, it is. Yeah, it's probably a very dead easy fix. Probably about 35 quid or something. But it's just that psychological barrier to break, isn't it? That's pre-programmed into you from like birth if you grew up in the in the 70s, and that's where your parents thought, and it's sort of like inbred into you.
It's like your eyes used to wear out if you watch too much TV, didn't it? But there you go.
Yeah, exactly. And they don't become square, they become pixelated. Anyway, let's move on to movies, TV, and streaming. All right, so movies, TV, and streaming. And the first bit of news is the very sad news that David Prowse has died at the age of 85. So for those of you who don't know who he is, I'm sure you will do when I say he's the Bristolian former bodybuilder, and I think former Mr. Universe as well, best known for playing Darth Vader in the original Star Wars trilogy. David evidently became very close friends with other fellow bodybuilders, including Arnold Schwarzenegger and Louis Ferrigno, who's also better known as the TV Hulk, long before their on-screen sort of appearance. He made his film debut way back in 1967 in the James Bond spoof Casino Royale playing Frankenstein's creature. I'm sure that wasn't in the Daniel Craig one.
No, that is... I think what you want to say
is... It's a David Niven one.
He played Frankenstein in the Hammer movies.
Yeah, he did. He also played it in two. He was asked to play the role again in two Hammer movies.
Was he playing a monster in Casino Royale? I need to remember what.
Yeah, he was.
He was in it, but he wasn't playing Frankenstein. Oh, then he was it. Okay, uncredited. So
yeah,
an uncredited role. I don't remember Frankenstein being in it. If you're with me, what that scene actually is. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Because as you're chatting and you carry on, I'm actually going to have a quick look.
Yeah.
While you carry on.
Anyway, he also featured regularly on cult series such as The Saint, Space 1999 and Doctor Who, in which he was cast as a Minotaur in a 1972 episode of The Time Monster, appearing opposite John Pertwee. He was spotted by George Lucas in 1971 in the filming of The Clockwork Orange, in which he played a bodyguard. And Prowse was invited to to audition for the roles of Darth Vader and Chewbacca. We obviously know how that ended up, because he did end up becoming Darth Vader. But unfortunately for David, his West Country accent was not deemed suitable for the part of a menacing Hollywood villain, and his lines were dubbed by the absolutely perfectly voiced, James Earl Jones. Mark Hamill, who played Luke Skywalker in the movies and obviously his on-screen son, was very sad to hear about the news, saying that he was a kind man and much more than Darth Vader. Hamill also said he loved his fans as much as they loved him. Prowse's career as an actor spanned 50 years, but obviously it was his role as the Darth Lord of the Sith that was his main role. And despite the enduring clamour for Star Wars, the actor had always maintained that playing the Green Cross Code Man, which he first acted in 1975, was the best job he ever had. For those of you who didn't grow up in the 70s, the Green Cross Code Man was a superhero who was dressed in distinctive green suit, and he became the face of British road safety for more than a decade, with known as his stop, look, listen, and remember the next time you cross the road, remember the Green Cross Code and all of that sort of stuff.
That was ingrained into us as kids at school. That was.
Hell yeah. I mean, you go at the same time he was Darth Vader. It was a very confusing time for us as kids.
I mean,
but if you want to read more about him, he does have an autobiography which is straight from the Force's mouth, which was published in 2011. I
do want to say one thing. I do feel he was very short-changed when Return of the Jedi was being filmed, and we were listening. Well, we didn't have the internet then, but we did have Starburst and Starlog, and we were reading little snippets of hearing of rumours that Darth Vader his face would be revealed. And obviously it was at the end of it when he took the mask off. But it wasn't him, was it? It was someone else. And I felt that should have been him personally.
Yes, I do. And there was actually a recreation, I think it was by an Italian filmmaker who got special permission from Lucasfilm to redo that scene with David Prowse. But it was on the understanding that it could only be shown to a very select group of people, which included David himself. And there was a documentary about it. The director made a documentary about his journey to make this proper element of the Return of the Jedi, because he fell out with George Lucas because he thought that he accused David of leaking that Luke was Darth Vader's son, which he hadn't done, but it was actually, I think in some of the documentaries that were on the Blu-ray version of the discs for Star Wars, that they ended up finding out who it was, although they didn't directly name that person. But I think it left a bitter
sour taste.
Yeah, a bitter taste, and I don't think that him and George Lucas ever sort of rekindled their friendship, as it were, which I think is a really great shame, because, I mean, he was part of the iconography. You know, he was literally the embodiment of Darth Vader.
Yeah, the real shame that they, you know, I don't know if I haven't really looked at all my extras on the latest 4K discs I've got, whether or not they got it in there, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, he'd always be remembered for, I think everyone would remember him from Darth Vader, but as 70s kids we were. That, and of course Frankenstein, which I've recently doing that podcast with Ron Real, that I had to watch both of those ones he was in. One was better than the other because he was in like a rubber suit with hair all over it for one of them. And the other one you could just definitely make out himself in it with his deformed head.
But a little bit more research could have used that little snippet that he'd actually...
Well, it wasn't there, actually. It was never mentioned. It was
creature in Casino Royale.
But it was never mentioned. It was never mentioned. And funny enough, I just watched that scene, which was like seconds long. I've actually just watched that and watched it. But in there, he looks like the Boris Karloff Frankenstein.
Yeah, he does.
Which unfortunately was a no-no for Hammer, because they were told they weren't allowed to use it. But yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it's funny how, you know, things like that can happen. I mean, it is one of those blink and you miss it sort of scenes, isn't it?
I don't remember. I just watched it because I did. I'm not saying I despise it, but I do not like that Casino Royale that much. It's not a great movie.
I have to say I do not like that movie at all. I think it's one of David Niven's poorest movies. I just don't enjoy it.
But also Sean Connery's and Woody Allen's poor movie.
Yes. Yeah, very, very true. I mean, it's an all-star cast, but it's not a good movie, and it's not a Bond movie. It might be about James Bond in a loose sense, but it's nothing like the Daniel Craig version. But no, I mean, I thought everybody was aware of that anyway, because I actually that was one of the things I went and looked up, because I had that snippet about David Prowse in my mind for years, that, you know, he played Frankenstein's monster in Casino Royale, and it was sort of like, but where the heck was that scene in the movie?
But it's so tacky. It's so tacky. It's not even. He's just walking from one side to the other while everything's exploding in this sort of, I suppose, what looks like the idea of a spectre with their their face.
Yeah, but it's a proper pub quiz sort of question.
Yeah, it's definitely one. It's definitely one you can catch people out on.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He looks even worse in that, to be honest.
And it's his first screen debut as well, I believe. So, you know, but I mean, it led him to be Darth Vader. It doesn't matter, you know. We've lost a great, you know, lost a bit of our childhoods.
Oh yeah.
Great shame. Anyway, Steve, you've got more that you want to. I think we should change this from the news
to the obituary column. So someone else has passed away today, this week, and I've seen her many times now. Her name is Daria Nicolai. She was in Deep Red and Inferno, and she died at the age of 70. She's very much well known for being the daughter, which I didn't know this, the daughter of Dario Argento, and he's still alive actually. But very famously, she was a scriptwriter. She got involved with a lot of his movies, and starred in quite a few of them, including Tenebrae, which is one of my favourites. Deep Red I watched this year again. Very sad. But she had a lot of input into his movies, and also I didn't know this, but she also co-wrote Suspiria. But Real shame. I've got that itch now to maybe pick up and watch some more of my Dario Argento collection, because I do have all the ones that she's in. So I think I've got Opera, and I don't think I've even watched that one yet. It's one I've just not actually sat on. But yeah, real shame. It's very attractive lady as well at the time.
Yeah, shame. Anyway, great news is that because we're approaching the end of lockdown, we have cinema releases. Yay! We've got no cinemas to watch them in anymore, but we've got the cinema releases.
Do you want to through them then?
Yeah, so the cinema releases are from the 30th of November, which obviously will be, well, before lockdown. Audrey at the End of the Storm. 1st of December, Decrypted and Catherine Jenkins' Christmas Spectacular. And from the 4th, A Christmas Carol, Falling, and Cocoon. And Cocoon is not the one.
I was just looking. Yeah. I was just.
It's not.
Surely
because
not.
I thought it's not. No, it's not a remake either. It's something entirely different.
Nothing to do with it.
No.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like I said, I do my research, Steve.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah. You know, I do write these bits, so I've done them. Yeah, it's nothing at all to do with it. So it's probably a good thing, because you don't want classics being remade too much.
Well, makes a difference. They are made a lot, but whether they should be made is another matter.
Yeah, I think Cocoon's one that can just stay there entrenched in the way that it was originally done. There's nothing the matter with it, but it's also not something I'd want to be revisited either, I don't think.
What, Cocoon?
Yeah.
I watched it this year.
I'm not saying it's a bad movie, Steve. I'm just saying it doesn't need remaking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I only rewatched it because I can't remember the guy's first name, but the guy that was in Rambo that passed away this year, he was also in Cocoon, because he was one of the divers, the team that were getting those cocoons up from the sea and putting them into the swimming pool in that house, you know.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what his name was.
His surname's Denny, but I without going to type in down.
Brian Denny. He played Walter.
Yeah.
Again, this is turning into the obituaries. So let's get on to DVD and Blu-ray.
Right. Okay. So here's a few we got for you. So we've got Beverly Hills Cop on a 4K Blu-ray. Also got Blade on a 4K Blu-ray. We probably have a bit of quite a few here. So something else here. We've got Jackie Chan with his New Fist of Fury Blu-ray. The Irishman from the Criterion Collection on Blu-ray DVD, which was on Netflix, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
We have the Hobbit Trilogy Steelbook Collection, the theatrical cut and the extended cut on 4K Blu-ray. And we have the Hobbit Trilogy, exactly the same with the 4K Blu-ray as well. Also, Lord of the Rings Trilogy Steelbook Collection, theatrical cut and extended cut, 4K Blu-ray as well. And the Lord of the Rings Trilogy 4K Blu-ray non-steelbook as well. That's about it. I can't think. I'm just going to have a little quick sneaky look to see what else is in there. Not a great deal more. There's a
Busan Peninsula.
Yeah, one for the missus there. It's Heartland Season 13, which she's already watched on Netflix, if she loves that show. And also the same with, which I've sat and I do watch it with her, but I think that was Grey's Anatomy, which is on Season 16 on Blu-ray DVD as well.
Yeah, so some good... There's quite some good ones there, but
leading up to Christmas now, the selections are getting a bit more juicy.
Yeah, there's also the DVD of Les Miserables, if you like that one. That's a 2019 version of it, though, not the Hugh Jackman version.
Yeah, another shout out would be Requiem for a Dream. That's a 4K Blu-ray as well. It's quite good.
Yeah. So there's I think because of lockdown, we're going to just see more and more things being converted over, to 4K, which is in itself not a bad thing.
No, not at all. It depends on the quality as well, isn't it?
Yeah, there is an Arrow movie there, though, that I forgot to mention, which is He Came from the Swamp, the William Griefer collection on Blu-ray. So that's there as well if you're into your Arrow movies. Which you are.
Yeah, there's a typo you got there. I'll say about that in a minute as well, actually. But it's not you, it's whoever you picked it up from. I'm still waiting for my David Cronenberg movie to be released yet that I've already paid for, which is called Crash. That's not come out yet. I'm still waiting for. I paid it some time ago, but it's just not
arrived.
No, it's going to be 4K Ultra
Yeah.
HD as well. Release date's 14th of December, saying here on HMV. So, okay.
What for the He Came from the Swamp?
No, for the Crash that I've already pre-ordered.
Oh, right, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you'd ordered that, yeah. Okay. So let's go on to the Blu-ray DVD chart. So at number 5, we've got Harry Potter: The Complete Collection. At number 4, new entry, we've got Westworld Season 3. At number 3, down from 2, we've got Mulan. At number 2, up from 40, Somebody's Been Buying The Last Jedi. And at number 1, a re-entry is Dawn of the Dead.
But not Arrow Films.
Oh.
It's Second
Well,
Sight.
I think it might be actually. Is it?
It is. I've bought the box set, remember?
Because
Arrow
yeah, of course. Yeah.
Arrow did release a version of Dawn of the Dead, which I've also got. But they came out years ago, and they're like rare as rocking horse poo. If you want to pick it up, you can't buy it now. If you want to pay a lot of money on eBay for it, it's around. But this edition, obviously by Second Sight, did a fantastic box set. Well, I'm going to say probably it's my one of 2 favourite box sets for the whole year, including another one we're going to talk about at some point.
Today. Yeah. So, seeing as I've got a couple of other things to talk about, shall I get those out of the way?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to have a snooze for the next 5 minutes, by the way.
Well, no, because I'm sure you will want to interject your opinion
but you
on
won't.
the first one.
I don't think.
And I promise not to edit it out. The first one being The Rock. So I've been continuing my Sean Connery season, and Sean Connery puts out again another fine performance as usual. Although I don't think it's his best performance by a long shot, compared to the wide range of movies that he's been in. The story is a mild-mannered chemist and ex-con, played by Connery, must lead the counter-strike when a rogue group of military soldiers led by a renegade general threaten a nerve gas attack from Alcatraz against San Francisco. So this is a movie that before I had only ever watched once. And after watching it again, I know why I only ever watched it once.
You don't like Nicolas Cage.
And it was because of Nicolas Cage. And it would become as no surprise that my main issue with this movie is Nicolas Cage. I would like to say that it's a phoned-in performance by Nicolas Cage, but I actually think that they got his answer phone, which did a better performance than he did. I just think, a phoned-in performance by Connery would be like an Oscar performance compared to Cage's. I seriously don't know why this guy's career has taken off. All that I can think is that he's got bribery and corruption on some level.
What was the latest film? Colour of Money. Colour of Money. That's Tom Cruise.
Colour of Space, wasn't it? Or what?
So I'm looking around my collection. It's got Colour of Space, yeah, which I really enjoyed. But yeah, actually, I didn't tell you this, did I? I'm butting in here, but my brother actually met him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on, carry on.
I was going to say my commiserations to him. Your brother, that is, for meeting Nicolas Cage.
I was supposed to, but yeah.
Yeah, you just lined that one up ready for me to knock it into the park, didn't you?
I knew you would.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that if you like Nicolas Cage, which I definitely do not, you will soak this up and you will like it as a movie. But I just find him, particularly right at the beginning, when he's sat there, with all of the other people around him, and, I can't remember what he's doing. But I just found it to be just so annoying right from that very moment, and it just continued right the way through the movie. But I think if you're able to dislocate your brain, and especially dislocate the bit that dislikes Nicolas Cage, if you don't like him, I think that you'll probably enjoy this movie, because other than that, it's a passable, decent action thriller. It's got plenty of action in it. It is very predictable, but these things normally are. But for me, it was just a fail because of Nicolas Cage, not because of Connery. Going on to my other movie in my self-imposed Sean Connery season was Outland. Now, I know that this doesn't get the same level of score. It gets a lower level of score than The Rock does, okay? But I think that this is a much better movie. It's a 1981 movie where a federal marshal stationed in a mining colony on Jupiter, Jupiter Moon Ayo uncovers a drug smuggling conspiracy. He looks for help from the people around him who, live in this colony, from the workers and from the authorities, and he gets no help at all when he finds himself he's marked for murder. So Sean Connery's performance here, I think, really greatly helps cement this as feeling like a very real sort of world. I think that there's really good character and story development. It's got a good plot. The motivations that you see that the characters have in the movie feel quite genuine. He has a great relationship with a doctor who's sort of like a burnt out has-been kind of doctor who's got more complaints than Leonard Nimoy's McCoy as a doctor, and it's just such a good premise of a film. It's well worth the look. What I would say is when you look at the special effects, they're nothing very fantastic. There are things that are mistaken in the film, science-wise. Like, for example, if you're exposed to a vacuum, you would explode. You wouldn't explode. You
get sucked out anyway, wouldn't you?
No, because they talk about immediate decompression and then your body explodes, but your body has a tensile strength to actually hold. It would become inflamed or puffed up, and your blood would boil inside your veins as the oxygen boiled away and the vapor, and then you'd be like left as a cold sort of husk. You wouldn't explode the way that it shows you in the movie, so that's scientifically inaccurate. But
we don't really pick on that in movies anyway these days.
No, we don't. If you're doing nitpicking, that was the sort of thing that I do pick up on. But you just go with it as a part of the story premise, and because people keep killing themselves because of this, and Sean Connery's trying to stop it, while at the same time having a bad relationship with his wife, who's just gone off with their kid, and they're going back to Earth, which means that she won't see him for like 2 years at the very least, because of the amount of time it takes to travel there. So there's a lot of different plots and subplots going on story-wise. The sets are really good because it's mostly practical effects. They look fine. The ones where they do go outside and there's like the panoramic sort of views of them fighting on, in front of this solar panel wall, for want of a better term, looks a bit naff. When it's the model, but it's the date of it. It's a 1981 movie.
Yeah, but do you know what? I feel, looking at some of the set designs from this, that they do have a little bit of a reminiscence of Alien, especially for the Nostromo.
Oh yeah, it's very reminiscent of that early 80s sort of sci-fi design.
I mean, the corridors that they have that they're walking in down that space station, very much that hexagonal design, which is very similar to what we had, something similar to Alien, if you know what I mean. When you look at it.
It might even, one might have even been a reconditioned version of the other one's set. I don't know. But
no, it was a good couple of years in between, so probably not. But
but these things can be, left in storage for some time and stuff like that. I don't know. It looks like it's cut off the same, or certainly by, strongly influenced the design. But it's a really good film. I think it's aged well, given the fact that this is 1981. The story is a very human story. It's not a sci-fi sort of story. It's just a human story in a sci-fi world, as it were. And because of the practical effects and stuff like that, it ages well. And as you've said, Steve, the design of the station...
Actually, I'm just having a look now, even the actual helmets that they wear when they go out in space have that very similar lights around them as well, which they do in. So they may well have picked up on what Ridley did there, but yeah.
Yeah, but the whole world design, when you look at everything that's in that world, you can see why it's in that world, and you feel it's right in that world, and you feel that world is right in itself, and that's what I mean. And that to me is a good sci-fi, when something doesn't feel out of place or you question things. It's like Star Wars, for example. Most of the environments in Star Wars, apart from the very impractical sort of like gangways with the very big drops and no handrails, feel like real worlds. It's only when you get to the edge of a precipice, or a bridge and there's no handrails on there, I think that doesn't feel right. But the design of it, everything, it feels like people are actually living on a space base on Io, which is exactly what you would expect, that a film to actually give that portrayal to. And, Sean Connery's delivery of this is fantastic in the movie as well. He's completely believable in that role.
Yeah, it's sort of with his shotgun, or he runs around with a shotgun best of the time, doesn't he?
Well, I'm not going to spoil the plot for those who haven't seen it, even though it is a 1980.
No, but it's actually on the actual poster has him with a shotgun on the actual poster. So.
Yeah, it does. It does. That's very true. So yeah, well worth. If you've never seen Outland, it's well worth a visit. Don't get it mixed up with Outlander. That doesn't star Sean Connery, and it's completely different. But Outland, 1981. I recommend it. Anyway, Steve, we've both got Total Recall to talk about, which is probably the biggest thing for us.
Yeah, ironically, I got it before you, and how did that work? Because I expected Xavi to be later.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, Xavi like you more than me.
Seems to be that way, doesn't it?
It does. Whereas Amazon seems to like me more than you. So, hey ho.
Well, yeah.
I'm still waiting for my print of The Lady Killers from Xavi.
I would have picked that up from Amazon. You would have been probably better off.
Yeah, I wish I had now, but, there you go. Anyway, do you want to go first?
Well, you can, because you've made some notes, but I've got some bullet notes on another page anyway.
All right, so if you want to jump in, let's
yeah.
Long then. So we're going to talk about Total Recall, Paul Verhoeven's classic 1990 sci-fi horror, which is one of Arnold Schwarzenegger's all-time best movies, which has really recently earned itself a stunning native 4K re-release, courtesy of Studio Canal in the UK or Arrow Movies in America. And it comes complete with Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos on the disc as well. So this is based on the original short story by Philip K. Blade Runner Dick. We can remember it for you wholesale, and it was adapted by the first Alien writers, Dan O'Bannon and Ronald Shusett, but went through over 40 further drafts, the majority of which had no final act, which is an interesting point. The premise of the movie is that of a simple worker who goes to buy a virtual adventure on Mars by memory implant, only to discover that he has actually already been there and is an actual spy involved in a conspiracy to keep air privatization on the Red Planet alive. Now, this movie might be 30 years old, but Total Recall, I think, still completely holds its ground to modern movies, even the best of today's action blockbusters, mainly because of the use of special effects genius Robin Botin and Paul Verhoeven's decision to use practical effects whenever possible. I would say that Schwarzenegger, really, when this was filmed, this is sort of like, this is the peak of his career sort of thing. This and Terminator kind of sort of time.
I think Predator came out similar to, they all came out very close together.
They did, yeah.
Predator as well is, again, another one that there's like a handful he did at one point in a few years.
And they're just classics. Predator, just the same, but this one, for me, this is my favourite Schwarzenegger movie by a country mile. He's a joy to watch. It's got an absolutely fantastic supporting cast as well, particularly when you're looking at the pre-Basic Instinct Sharon Stone. Ronnie Cox, who also worked with Verhoeven on RoboCop as well, as the film's completely dislikable villain. You've also got similar acting there with Michael Ironside, who delivers one of his best performances as Richter as well. And I feel that this movie is just another stunning 4K restoration with Jerry Goldsmith's score really being the icing on the top of the cake for this one.
Yeah, I mean, Studio Canal, they've done, how many have I got now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This will be the 7th box set I've got by them at the moment. The story behind why Studio Canal, because obviously I've got the 4 John Carpenter box sets, which have a very similar set of extras, if you know what I mean, with the new stuff and the soundtracks on there and the posters and the cards.
Yeah.
And also Apocalypse Now, which I've got that 5-disc version as well. And the other one is a sort of a horror movie from the 70s called Don't Look Now.
Yeah, and also Flash Gordon.
And Flash Gordon, yeah, which that one I didn't go for. And that was an Arrow release in the UK. That one was an Arrow release in the US. But it's ironic that Carlaco, who were the company that were producing these films, they ended up folding, and Studio Canal bought the right. Hence why that's why they've released this one. And I think also the Rambo. Unfortunately, they're not box sets like what we got here, but the 4K edition, those have been released by them as well.
Yeah,
because they were originally on the books of Carlaco at the time as well. I mean, anything that came out when you started the film or watching any film, and Carlaco sort of the graphics that pop up with the name, you always know you're in for a good time with the film. You know you're going to get a good movie. And with this I'd say, because they're different genres, this is one of the best box sets of the year for me, along with Dawn of the Dead. And it's nice that they've decided now to give it a hard box set cover, because this is the first one with that solid one, isn't it? Which is a very solid one compared to the others, which come in a thinner cardboard, if you know what I mean. If you look at the John Carpenter ones, for example, and the Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting that we've got, from the Goldsmith score, you've got some extra cues that weren't in either of the CD editions that I've got. They didn't come out in that, which are some extra cues just from the adverts on the screen, from the TV, from Recall, and some of the music that's played in the bar in Mars. They're on there now, so it's a nice little icing on the cake from that point of view, because I've not heard them before in any shape or form anywhere. So it'd be nice to see what I'm going to be getting on the vinyl when that comes across the pond at some point, to see whether that is identical to those 2 CD discs.
Yeah. The box covering, by the way, is basically the same standard as what it was on the Flash Gordon collector's edition. The same sort of thick cardboard. Yeah,
they've improved that. I'm going through the extras at the moment.
Yeah.
And Michael Douglas was originally going to be in this movie. Did you know that?
What, as Richard?
Well, yeah, he was going to be in it. It all fell through for whatever reason. But there's a great documentary on the history of Carlaco as well, going through all their movies, because I'm hoping, I'm going to touch a bit of wood here and say that if they're to do more box sets, there's 2 more movies they should be doing, released by Carlaco, which they bought the rights to, which will be Highlander, and also the one you were on about with Sharon Stone, which is Basic Instinct. If we could have those come out in 4K remasters, plus all the extras as well, that would be pretty cool.
Yes, definitely. I mean, it's they were very influential, I think, at the time. I think that they had a big impact on Hollywood.
Oh, they were, because unfortunately they weren't making money, but I think the best one they ever made money on, which was Terminator 2 Judgment Day, at the time it was made. But unfortunately, the last film they were making fell flat on its arse, which sort of killed them really, which was the pirate movie, which also had Jenna Davis in it. If you remember that.
Yeah, I remember that. I can't remember what it was called, but
that was probably the nail in the coffin. But just going back, I mean, there's about 4 or 5 new documentaries on here, which are well worth watching.
Yeah, because you get 5 discs in the pack, don't you? You get the 4K Blu-ray, you get the DVD, the Blu-ray. You also get the extras disc, and then you get 2 audio tracks, CDs.
Yeah, which is the soundtrack. Yeah.
Yeah.
But even between the 4K disc, which has got some new extra in it, as well as the separate disc as well, which has Opening Your Mind, Scoring of Total Recall, Total Access, and How Clark Could Change Hollywood, which I've already watched. Dreamers Within the Dream, developing Total Recall. They've got an audio commentary with Paul Verhoeven and Arnold Schwarzenegger. The making of documentary, Imagining Total Recall featurette, and the special effects of Total Recall featurette as well, which I've watched a few of those yet. And just being a fan
I haven't touched the special effects. I haven't had a chance
but Rob Bottin is a big favourite of mine because he's done so many movies that I used to watch in the 80s with those practical effects that he did were outstanding.
Sorry, go
on. No, come on. Right.
No, it's all right, you go.
No, I was just going to say that I saw that in the cinema when it was released, and I tell you, it was freaking amazing then, and it still is now.
Yeah.
You know, I just hope we can see some more like these being released.
Yeah, I mean, this was one of the first movies I say one of the first, obviously not one of the first movies. This was a movie I remember going to see with my friends. Because we got into a thing of a regular sort of Friday night off out to the cinema before we'd go clubbing kind of thing, and we'd go, and I remember going and seeing this movie, and it was fantastic. I remember being sort of awestruck at the, some of the technologies that they'd used in terms of special effects, which back then were groundbreaking.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, some of the model work they did with the train and Mars and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I think the two biggest pieces to the film was the disguise that he had to get into Mars, being that woman, the redhead woman, and that face opens up with him inside it, and that is a robot face as well for him at that point, which is fantastically done.
You do know that there's actually only 3 actors on that movie who've died. One of which is the woman whose head explodes. The other is the guy who is the spokesman for Recall, who appears to Quaid in the hotel room with Sharon Stone, and then the other one is the dwarf prostitute.
What do you mean in real life? You mean
in real life?
Oh, okay, yeah, no, I wasn't aware of that, but yeah. But yeah, just the special effects they did for that, especially when you had the chest scene when the alien guy is in his chest and he comes out.
Yeah, Quato.
Yeah, it's utterly fantastic, and as you say, it holds up today. Everything about it, again, is I wish it's a shame that Predator didn't get this sort of treatment.
Well, it might do.
I mean, I've got the 4K Blu-ray release of it. But it never had this amount of work done to it.
Well, maybe a future version of it will. And in terms of another Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, very different to the ones that we're on about, but that needs now a 4K version because it never got the HD one, is True Lies.
Well, yeah, we're still waiting on that one.
Yeah, a little bit too long.
It's rumoured to be being done, but it's like, yeah.
Well, if you watch it when it's on Sky, it's clearly in HD.
Yeah. So you see, the other big film as well, is The Abyss we're waiting for.
Yeah.
So there is a few big releases still to come. I'd love to see Highlander done to this extent. I've got the other Studio Canal versions on Blu-ray. I think I've got the Immortal edition on the steel tin version. But yeah, Studio Canal really thumbs up for them on this one. What they've given us, I think it's fantastic. Unfortunately, people are finding it out now, finding it's sold out, that you can't really pick it up.
No, these things you've got to jump on fast. But talking about the transfer then, and I'm going to be completely honest about the delivery of this. I did notice that there was some banding, pixelation in the very vivid red scenes, but I think that's more to do with like the Studio Canal conversion. However, I think that generally speaking, they've done a cracking job of transferring the movie. The HDR does really make the colours pop and be very vibrant, and it does. There is some film grain in there, but that doesn't stop things like.
That's its age, though. To be honest, you get that in a lot of 4K movies from that era, remastered or not. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I know that, but there are things that can do to minimise that effect as well. But you're always going to get film grain when you're blowing something up that from that small. It's just the way of the world. But in terms of the film grain, it doesn't stop things like the texture of skin details and all that sort of stuff from feeling really crisp. And realistic.
Sharon Stone looks absolutely gorgeous as always, and I was gutted when she died in that. Spoilers, everybody. But yeah, she was my favourite in the film. Really was.
Yeah, I wonder why. Other thing I'm going to say is some of the scenes definitely come across as a bit blurry, but these are more where practical effects are not used, and it's probably more to do with the source material and the quality of the conversion by Studio Canal. And the things I'm going to say as an example, like the outside scenes where they've used models rather than like a physical location on Mars, they don't look, they're a little bit blurred. But it's only for a moment, and then you're back onto the actors, and that looks really very vivid, very crisp and clean sort of look. So, I'm going to say that the rest of the movie, it just looks incredible. It's way better than the Blu-ray release. Like I said before, I've not ventured into the special features, but it does have a lot going with it in terms of, what's on that disc, and also the Jerry Goldsmith score. The 48-page booklet's really good. Some interesting little short, sort of essay type things in there.
Yeah, there's some things that remind me of when I actually bought Starburst and Starlog. They got some of those copies of those pages in there as well. Yeah,
they have. And it's got a poster in there as well, which is a nice
I'm going to get that framed.
Yeah.
Especially the one... because it's double-sided, but the one where you got everybody on the page, the one I put the photo on Facebook, and that one there, it needs to be framed. That one, it's fantastic.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on to but definitely one for you to buy. Moving on to the next thing, just want to talk about. Quick shout out about Star Trek Discovery and the fact that it was the Unification 3 episode. And wow, this is the best Discovery episode this season by a long shot, and it's been a good season. Definitely good. Picks up on all of the old Unification Part 1 and 2. Links back to Spock, links back to Picard, the TV show, I would say, in terms of that. And lots of other... It's really... They've entrenched... if there was any doubt before, there is no doubt now, is that Discovery is entrenched in Star Trek lore. So well worth a watch. And also, The Mandalorian, you get lots of information about the child or Baby Yoda and his backstory in this week's episode. Definitely worth a watch.
I should take your word on that.
Sorry?
I should take your word on that one.
Yeah, because you're not into it, are you?
I am, but I've not really watched the last few, but...
I mean, if I said to you, do you know who Ahsoka Tano is?
Yeah, well, obviously not, but,
Well, you're saying obviously not, but they're not a Mandalorian character. But this show, this week, has Ahsoka Tano in it. Now, as you don't know, I'll explain to you. Ahsoka Tano comes from Clone Wars, and she is Anakin Skywalker's Padawan.
Yeah, but I didn't get into the cartoons. It worked for me.
No, but they've taken one of the characters from Rebels, and now they've brought one of the Clone War characters over to the Mandalorian as well. This is all. It's I think what they're doing now in terms of that, they're just doing a masterpiece in terms of the Mandalorian. They're doing a really good job of it. Star Wars at the moment needs to be on TV, not on the movies, because they're doing a better job of it with The Mandalorian.
Well, Star Wars is sort of, on the movie side now going to be, well, it won't be for me, as I said before.
Well, it's dead at the moment, isn't it?
No, well, when it comes, they release something out, it'll be more for the generation of people now. It won't be for us older guys, I think, to be honest. It's not going to appeal to us.
Yeah, quite possibly.
No, I don't think it will. I think it's going to be this Disney train I do not like at all at the moment. It just really putting their awe in on stuff now, I despise Disney at the best of times right now. personally, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
let's move on. So we'll move on to listener questions. All right, so listener questions, and Mark's up as usual. And his first question is: has your favourite genre of game to play changed as time has passed?
I don't think so. I think I still go for RPGs at the best of time. Whether it's going to be Square Enix with Final Fantasy or even, Bethesda in the future, they're going to have a couple of nice ones coming up in the years to come. As I say, I always thought Bioshock would be getting a remake of some kind, so that'd be something very similar again. So, yeah, I think that's my normal go-to, personally. I don't make yourself.
I would say that I would say since probably the 360 era onwards and the launch of the sort of open-ish world RPGs like Assassin's Creed, they've been my favourite personally.
I mean, I liked them back in the day. I'm a bit perplexed right now over it, but not been my cup of tea.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the Assassin's Creed sort of style games are my favourite, but I'm not too bothered if it's something else. I like most genres of game. It's just that some don't hold my attention as long, like driving games, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But in terms of my favourite, then my favourite games have been Assassin's Creed since Assassin's Creed.
Well, they have been, haven't they, for you? They've been up there all the way, haven't they?
Yeah, and my other favourite obviously being Elite series. And Elite series I've had a love for since 1984. So I suppose that's long enough, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm trying to think now that because Fallout's been going just as long. I know it's fallen flat, Fallout has, but from the point of view of the original standalone games, they've been fine. Bioshock as well. They've come to an end at the moment. Final Fantasy is still strongly moving forward. So. And there's been a few failures along the way.
Yeah.
So not too bad.
No. Okay, Steve, do you want to do his second question?
Okie doke. What will we... Oh, sorry. What is that a line of the way? Sorry. Will we ever see the end of exclusives? If so, how long before we do? And that's up to Sony, I think, personally. I'm not being too favouritism from one side, but I do feel Sony are the ones that are holding that back. They want to shoot me down in flames. No,
I'm not going to. I think it's Sony who the ones holding on to the exclusive. So
I
do that might change with them Microsoft buying out Bethesda.
Oh, probably. Might do, yeah. But I just feel that there's some great games there that could be played on the other consoles, and they're missing out if they can't afford both. The Uncharted series, for example, they would make an absolute fortune if they went to Xbox.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think what was the Android one? I can't think what it's called now. Detroit Makes Human, wasn't it?
Yes.
That was an exclusive as well, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
So, it was original.
Because it was a Sony title.
Yeah, then it went on to PC.
Obviously, the other one that Sony went to PC would have been, the one that's having a sequel. I do apologise. They won't having a sequel this year, where you're running around as a child growing up with this family and out there shooting bows and arrows with dinosaurs. If you know what I mean. I can't think of the title at the moment. I'm going to be really stupid now. You're going to all shoot me down, but the one that's in the snow and the ice and the jungle and all that. Yeah, you know what I'm about?
Jumanji.
No. The other one that's got the one that was the big exclusive for Sony for the PS5. I'm not talking about
Uncharted?
No, PS5. Big exclusive that's coming out.
Sorry, it's Sunday night. It's after 9 o'clock. My brain's shutting down.
Don't worry about it. Honestly, people will rip us apart. That's fine.
Right. Okay. All right then. Well, in that case, did I answer this? I can't remember.
You didn't. No.
I'm just getting tired now. Will we ever see the end of exclusives? Probably not. No. And I think it might even go the completely opposite way when Sony actually do think, yeah, okay, let's get rid of exclusives, and Microsoft say, well, I'm sick of waiting for Sony, we'll go back and we'll have exclusives. I think it's entirely possible that the polls might flip. So, anyway. Jason Toon, he's asked, with the runaway success of The Mandalorian, what other characters or properties would you want to see a big budget TV miniseries? Personally, he'd love to see Carl Urban's Dread series. He's saying, side note, how great is it that a genuine fan of an IP gets to make a show like that where you can see and love and attention to detail goes into it?
Well, funnily enough, I saw a little article this week about Judge Dredd saying they're trying to get Carl Urban and Sylvester Stallone to play the character in the TV show.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure where I saw it, but it did pop out this week. I'm sure, yeah, it was there. But thinking of something else personally, I don't know really. Most stuff I've seen over the years has all been made into miniseries. But anything else, I can't really put my finger on it. Can you? I mean, you've got your fix. You got your Star Trek TV fix in a shape of some kind, haven't you? And you've got your Star Wars version as well.
How about a remake of Space 1999 and UFO?
Yes and no. I think it would probably. It would put detriment to the original. Probably. I think it's best to leave it where it is. I mean, we did have, it didn't last long, unfortunately, we did have an Indiana Jones TV series, didn't we?
Yeah, it lasted one or two seasons, something like that. It wasn't very long, was it?
No, all right, I know didn't have who he'd want to play Indy as a teenager in that, but I always thought that would have been something. And the same with Sherlock Holmes, young Sherlock Holmes, that would have been interesting if they'd have picked up from the movie that came out in the 80s.
Hmm.
I mean, we've had Sherlock Holmes TV show, obviously, with the BBC. But, I don't know, really. I don't think anything springs to mind. I mean, you can recreate some shows. I mean, whether or not you could, if you think of something like Land of the Giants, if that was remade, or The Time Tunnel, or Lost in Space. Although Lost in Space was made into another movie, which was pretty poor. There was a TV show on Netflix, but did that die a death? Have you been watching it?
Sorry, which one?
Lost in Space.
Well, I watched do you mean the Netflix one? Yeah, I watched that. I think the second season was a lot better than the first. A lot better.
Yeah. I mean, Jerry Anderson, from that point of view, they did a new online show, didn't they? Which I think was called Firestorm, if my memory serves me. So they did a few episodes of that, which is made in the old school way, and saying that there are some episodes of Thunderbirds that have been made recently, which were done for the 50th anniversary. Well,
the Thunderbirds are a CGI thing now, anyway, aren't they?
No, not that. I'm on about done old school.
All right, okay.
If you were on BritBox, I think it's on there actually. They made 2 episodes using original puppets and the same sort of sets, and they were brand new stories. They are out there. Yeah, I think they've done for the 50th anniversary, but yeah, I can't see anything else actually, because I think they take a lot. Some of these TV shows now, like Thunderbirds and Captain Scarlet, were brought into the cartoon element, weren't they? And that doesn't have the same appeal.
No.
Anyway, shall I move on?
Move on.
Okay. So Paul Walter says, within your game pile of shame, would you rather leave those games uncompleted as opposed to turning them on a super easy mode and finishing the game? I don't think there's nothing wrong with putting it onto an easy mode if it's mechanics are just too difficult, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And that's not from not from an age point of view or anything like that, because there are some games that they've been remade that if you played them originally were bloody hard.
I think it's making the assumption that your games that are on your pile of shame are on your pile of shame because they are hard as well, as opposed to they're on your pile of shame because there was a reason why you didn't enjoy them.
Well, I'll give you an example. Catherine, well, actually they did the new version of that, which I completed. And those puzzles where you're climbing with your pillow to get to the top of the blocks to get out of your dream, they were quite tough. But if you just dumb it down a little bit, I think it helps, and also you get to get you get to enjoy the whole story from what's going on in that. So I don't see any shame in doing it.
I've never had a problem with turning it down if you want to. Normally, I try and keep the game to the game default as.
But look at the Will-O-the-Wisp. The super games from Microsoft.
Yeah.
And they were brutal.
Yes.
So you could dumb them down and look at Cuphead as well. And there's a tough game.
Yeah, but the reason why I didn't like Cuphead was not because it was hard, but it was because it was bereft of any enjoyable gameplay.
No, but I'm not saying that. I'm just saying about, they put it onto an easy mode so you can at least get the game finished and enjoy it the best way you can.
Yeah, I mean, the games that are in my pile of shame are generally because they've not had that je ne sais quoi that has pulled me back to the game. So I've bought it, I've played it for a bit, got bored in whatever way, or something better has come along, and that game is then passed into memory, as opposed to it's been too hard to play, because I'm not bothered about whether or not a game is too hard to play as to whether or not I enjoy playing it. So, for example, Bloodborne is in my pile of shame. I've not completed that game. That is a blooming hard game. It doesn't mean that I don't play it occasionally. I do play it. It's just, I know it's going to be one of those games that I'm not inclined to complete, but it doesn't mean I won't stop playing it.
No, but don't you think some games, though, aren't completed because something shiny new comes along and you move on?
Well, that's what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. And what you went from doesn't have enough to pull you back to it later on. So the one Assassin's Creed game that I've got in there is Syndicate, and that's one Assassin's Creed game I've not completed.
Yeah.
All of the other ones I've completed, obviously apart from Valhalla, because I'm still playing that one. But even Assassin's Creed Valhalla is another perfect example of, even though it's my favourite sort of genre of gaming, the Spider-Man Miles Morales was much better. So I don't know. It's an interesting sort of dilemma, isn't it? Really, in terms of why do games end up in your pile of shame? And I think it could be for a host of reasons beyond the difficulty. Yet there have been games that have been in my pile of shame that I've wanted to experience the story for. So I've whacked down the difficulty for it because I've not enjoyed the gameplay in the game, but I've still wanted to complete the game. The example of that would be The Last of Us Part 1. Did not enjoy the gameplay in that game at all. Part 2, for some reason, it clicked, but Part 1, it's never clicked.
Yeah, Part 1 I actually finished, believe it or not,
Yeah.
So I think.
But I completed 2 without completing 1. I thought, I actually want to see what actually went on in 1, even though I sort of knew at that point. So I thought, oh God, they've got all those clickers and all that sort of stuff. I thought, I'll just put it on minimum difficulty because I just want to experience the story. And there's nothing the matter with that. It's just,
I don't think they should give achievements unless it's really necessary for a hard difficulty, for a story mode, game that's basic story.
Well, that doesn't.
No, but there are some games that do, though, isn't there?
Yeah, but there are some games that you could, you press a button and you get 5 gamer score for. Looking at Halo Remastered, for example.
Or a Simpsons one, pressing the start button.
Yeah.
Well, we won't go into achievements because we'd be here all night with you on that one, but yeah.
Yeah, so, anyway, Dave Rivett's last question of the evening has said, with the sad news this morning of David Prowse, what is your favourite Darth Vader moment and line? Mine, at 10 years old, was obviously, Luke, I am your father. I was blown away. I was not expecting that at all. I was only 10.
I don't know, really. We can all say Empire Strikes Back as he's talking about. But, I mean, just his first appearance on screen. Actually, I would probably say, I'd say how badass he was in Rogue One, as one, for example.
Okay.
It puts a bit of a downer on episode the original Star Wars, because he comes out there then not as badass as he was when he did that. But that was later. But
Well, not only that, you can kind of understand why he doesn't believe Princess Leia, because he knows that she's as guilty as a puppy sitting next to a pile of poo. I'm on a diplomatic mission from Alderaan. No, you're not. I've just followed you.
Yeah, but I mean, I do like. I was quite happy with the way it ended in Jedi.
Yeah.
With the father and son sort of coming together. If you know what I mean.
Missed opportunity in the sequels though, because you could have had the Force ghost of Anakin Skywalker come into Luke.
Yeah, but it was nice to see Christian Hayden actually being edited. I don't mind him being edited into the ghost at the end.
No.
You're going to go on that. That was a problem. I mean, I've seen both and I've got both, but it made more sense like that, didn't it?
Yeah, I forgot what was it. Sebastian Shaw,
who played Darth Vader.
Yeah,
not sure, but yeah, it's. But then again, if they could have recreated Hayden's face when they took the mask off in, when they're outside the ship, he's trying to drag him onto the ship when everyone's trying to escape, the Death Star and that. but put him in as a ghost, that was quite a touching moment, I feel.
Yeah, it was Sebastian Shaw who was the face of Darth Vader in the Return of the Jedi. That was so wrong. It should have been David. Definitely should have been David.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But in terms of my favourite moment of it, my second, I'm going to say two. My second favourite moment is exactly the same moment as David's here, where Dave is saying about that reveal that I am your father. But my first favourite moment, the second favourite moment was when I experienced it. The first favourite moment I have of Darth Vader is when he says, I am your father, and I watched my son experience that.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because I'd been waiting for him to be the right age to watch Star Wars. And I'd been really protecting him from knowing who Darth Vader was. And I'm telling you, those Lego Star Wars shows, they really got on my nerves sometimes with when he was watching them, because they kept giving sort of like semi-spoilers about who he was, but fortunately he never picked it up. And I had my son on my knee. We were watching Empire Strikes Back. We were having a father and son sort of film night, and he sat and he watched it, and just seeing that his face change, he was facing the most evil man in the universe from his point of view, and it's his dad. Do you know what I mean? And it was sort of like oh my God. And I remember watching it, and I was thinking, now I know how my dad felt. And it was just one of those sort of like beautiful little moments. And it was a moment that for years I had been planning, because I knew that would be a special thing for him and me, and it still is. And it's just a beautiful thing, and it all still revolves around that one scene. And I would love to think that when he has a child, if Star Wars is still popular and the child likes it, that he does exactly the same thing as well, and experiences what I experienced. It'd be quite a thing with that, wouldn't it? But,
yeah. I do like the bit where I do like the part where he at the conference table.
Yeah, we would be honoured if you would join us. Yeah, that is I'm gonna name the show that today.
That could be this week's, can't it?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll name the show after that, especially for you there, Dave, and for Dave, who we've lost as well. So, yeah, that's good. Good questions there, guys. Really appreciate that. Don't forget, if you want to get your questions in, you can put them on our Facebook group or email us at podcast@popculturegamers.co.uk. Steve, do you want to give your contact details?
Yep, so Twitter @Steve007, Xbox is just Steve007, PSN ID is the real Steve007, Instagram is Steve0764, and YouTube is just, Steve007 as well. So yeah, it's all very similar.
Yeah. Okay, so my details are HERJ UK on everything. That's PSN, Xbox Live, and Steam. Apart from on Epic, where I'm Pop Culture Gamers. Don't forget, you can also follow us on Twitter as well at Pop Culture Gamer. Don't forget our Facebook group as well, and also our Facebook page. I've already given out the email, and you can visit our website at popculturegamers.podbean.com.
Anyway, We need to go.
Yeah, time to go. So it's a good night from me.
And a good night from him.
Good night.